Jay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Daniela's here. Jess. Brian, I see you.
Oh, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
No, I see your name. I do not see you.
Well, I that's as good as I can do right now. Get the name going.
You have no, what? Where's your camera?
Oh, I don't know.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Sid.
Oh, there it is.
Here you are. You jumped over there.
Hello. Hello, hello. I am going to be listening. I've got all my family here and it's crazy. So I'm just going to try to listen and not disturb anyone. So,
Okay.
That's it.
Anyway.
That works for
Brian.
us.
Okay, good. You look so cute in your shirt.
Away from
Yeah.
Oh,
It looks nice and warm. What I'm saying is you're in a warm place. We're in a
Yes.
cold place. So
Oh, yeah. No,
it's kind of nice that it's sunny and warm for you, is what I'm saying.
yes. Fake Christmas tree for me.
Yeah. Cool.
We're gonna
Okay.
we have a snowstorm coming up. So
Oh, you do? Oh, that's fun.
yeah, in about a couple hours it's coming in. So what else is new? But it's a New Year's Day, right? So I think
It is New Year's Day. I know. Wow. This is kind of a significant day, I feel like.
Yeah, it
I feel
is.
like it's been really a significant, I feel like this is a really significant day. And maybe it's just because for me, I usually ride pretty high, but I've really been feeling heavy these last like a week or so. And I'm going,
Yeah.
wait, what is happening right now? Why am I sad? Like sad? I'm not typically a sad person. So, hey, Ellen.
Let's see.
Hi.
She's down at the bottom where it says M.
Yummy.
Emmy. Emmy.
Let's see.
There she is.
Oh, yeah.
Happy New Year, Ellen.
Wow.
Cool.
Oh, I'm so excited that we're all together here today. Because I was just telling Brian, boy, it feels really significant to come together right now. It really does. I've been, I'm kind of a physically tough person. Like sometimes Ellen will call me what do you call me? A truck driver?
Okay.
She's like,
Yeah. All right.
Mia, that's like a truck driver, and then there's and so I kind of like muscle through everything and put my head down and I'm good. But woo, man, I've been flying all over the place and just going, okay, what is this? There's a gift in this. In everything like this, there's a gift. What's it asking me to see? So we're looking at you, Brian, to ask you, what is it? Why the heck have we been feeling these feelings and all that good stuff? And before we start that, I want to just kind of let a few more people, we'll wait till 5 after and just stop for a moment and have a little moment of gratitude for being able to come together like this. I'm super grateful. really grateful.
Yeah, really, it's kind of a miracle. All that we can do, people from everywhere, we can all talk together, see each other, discuss the vicissitudes of life and things like that, right? It's an incredible invention, really, the whole thing. So you do have to be grateful, yeah.
It's a wild adventure. All right, so let's just stop for a moment if we can, and just everybody close your eyes for a minute and take a deep breath in and release it out with a sound. And a deep breath in and out with a sound. Breath in and out with a sound. And now just breathe, breathe, breathe. Your comfortable pace, and place your awareness on your breath moving in and out of your heart. And just feel everyone's presence right here and right now. This moment in time, there's nothing else, just everything is right here, right now. And in this space, we are eternally grateful for this moment, for these people that have shown up on this call that we connect with. We're grateful for everyone who cannot be here, who wanted to be here, and who's here with us in spirit. We connect. Can you feel each other connecting through the heart space? And I just personally want to say I'm really grateful for this moment. And so with that, Thank you, thank you, thank you, Brian. We're going to turn it over to you.
Well, first of all, Happy New Year. And as all we were doing the parade today, aren't we hosting the parade that's going down the street? Oh, that's a different thing, right? We're doing an astrological thing today. All right.
No parades.
No parade. I was getting ready to do the commentary on the floats that are coming down, which would then be a segue into the planets, and I could talk about that. But, you know, because a couple of the big planets or the big floats are the ones that still are taking the headlines at this time as we go into this year. Of course, I'm talking about Jupiter and Saturn and the effect that that's had. If I were the professor, I would be asking everybody to write down what they thought Jupiter and Saturn did to them in the last week. It's only been a week or so, right? And what they feel was the effect of that. And I wonder how everybody would respond, because it is an Aquarius plateau, and that's setting up a theme for perhaps a millennia or two. You know, this is a very powerful time. So when you mention kind of the heaviness, it's a little bit related to that, because we just made a big blockbusting trade. You know, there's all of the universe shifted and put into energy with Jupiter and Saturn. And, you know, it's kind of weighty in a way because it's so profound. I think that's why you're doing it. And because it's a fixed sign, it's fixing energy rather than letting it run amok. So we're being established. And that basically that theme will run through the whole month of January in a big way, because a lot of fixed signs are coming into play. Aquarius certainly, and Taurus is going to be a big player in January. And today we have the moon in Leo. So what happens when the moon's in Leo? Ever since I can remember hanging out with my astrology friends, they always say it's a good time to have a party when the moon's in Leo, because it's the heart energy, everybody wants to share, everybody's running around, playing games, doing whatever. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. So how do we have fun today in a serious way? So I'm gonna let you answer that one. But anyway, so what happens? I have a graphic right in the beginning. This is today astrologically. Tell me if it's in the right position.
Okay, hang on. Let me put this in speaker view. Yes,
You can see it okay?
I can see that.
And you can hear me okay?
Sorta.
So flying chart here.
Try going to the other side. Put your face on the other side.
Oh, here.
Now swing your there. Okay, how's that? No, I can't hear you. Okay, there.
There? You can see it okay? And you can hear me okay?
Here, wait, put it up a little bit, Brian. I'm going to take a screenshot. Put it all the way up. Up more. Up. Right there.
Okay. Can you hear me? No.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can share this with you. Okay.
All right. Well, I'll try to talk over the sheet.
I'm gonna screen share, and then you can, let's see if this will work. Okay. Let's see if I can go. Where is it? Where did it go? Sorry, guys. I am looking. Where did it go? Ah, I took the screenshot. Hang on. Holy smokes. You guys are super patient. Hang on. Brian's still holding it up there.
Yep.
Let me move all this. Too much going on. All right. There it is.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
There.
I take it down then, right? Okay.
Take it down, Brian. Talk to us.
How about a different language today?
I'm not understanding English anyway these days. So try a new one.
I feel like speaking, in French or something. Anyway, I did do a chart in French one time, but that's a whole other story. Okay, what we got there, if everybody's familiar with a chart, of course, that's Happy New Year's Day. And when we look at a chart, the center circle is the Earth. It's called a geocentric chart. And the horizon line, is the east, where you see the sign Cancer. Very good. And
Uh-huh.
then the west, which is where I'm calculating this for basically where I live here, but the sun is setting, and then we have, it's a cross section. So you have the planets above and the planets below. And if you notice, I have a colored line triangle. I'm wondering if anybody knows what that is in terms of astrology. Anybody take a guess? See that blue triangle? Yep.
This one?
Yep.
It looks like a Dorito to me. I'm kidding.
You've got it. Amazing. I didn't think anybody was going to get that. Okay.
Okay, what's it
All
mean?
right.
Here? Here.
It's a shorthand for a thing called a grand trine. And today, the moon is in Leo down here in the second sector. That's the moon.
Mhm.
The Venus is over in Sagittarius, over in the sixth sector. And then Mars is up in Aries in the 11th. Those are the houses. So second, sixth, and 11 have Venus, moon, and Mars. And it's called a grand trine because the angle between the Venus and the Mars and the moon and the Venus form 120-degree angles. And it's supposed to be the perfect alignment in astrology. So this is today. So the new year comes in with a flourish of a fire sign grand trine. And fire sign is a spirit or a passion or a zealous trinity. So it's all in trine. So it's supposed to be a very good day, not unlike the parade that I was mentioning where, wow, what a beautiful float coming down, because we're all supposed to be really euphoric and pretty much optimistic on today. It's a good start to the new year. That's what I'm saying. So, of course, then some of these planets will start moving around as the month goes through. But then in about 2 days from this point, the moon will go into Virgo. It will be trine to the sun, which will be trine to Uranus and Taurus. And we'll have a second grand trine configuration. So we have 2 grand trines within the first 3 days of this year. That's pretty phenomenal. And one is fire, the spirit and the passion. We should all be filled with spirit and passion today. And then the earth sign, which is a preface to the theme basically of this year anyway, because it's earth stuff going on as well. So we have all kinds of things happening. You notice where if you're watching a chart, Saturn and Jupiter, that's what that big conjunction was about. Saturn has moved on now, and also Jupiter has overtaken it, so it's leading away from Saturn. But in time, the Sun and Mercury will be conjunct with Saturn and Jupiter this month. And that's the first time ever in many years. So all these factors go into a rather unusual kind of a month. So,
Brian, what's many years?
What's that?
What is many years? I mean, to a 5-year-old, 2 is many. What's many years?
I don't know. I have a story about that, but should I tell my story? No. Yeah, I went down to the beach this year, and I'm walking into the beach, and a young family, a little girl on mom's shoulders, and a little boy, he's a little older. "You're old," he said to me. And I said, "Well, what?" He said, you're young. He said, and I said, "How old are you?" "I'm 5. So he got 5 years old, right? So now I'm only 5 years old. I'm in great shape. Anyway, so okay. The question was, how many years have we talked? Well, different things. Trying to figure out where we were at when I said that.
You said that there's some really significant things going on. You've got the 2 trines happening this month, and then
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah, the month is sequential because when we finally go, I'm going to try to trace it with the years too. So in this month, the sun will move to conjunct Saturn and also conjunct Jupiter. Mercury will also be conjunct. So we got that Aquarius. Aquarius energy is going to be just this month coming up as we're going to explore the new world of Aquarius. So that's within this month. Basically, though, when we're talking about the last time this happened or what happened again, we're talking a very long time since the sun was conjunct, like a very long time, being at least 29 years, if not more. It's actually probably decades, if not millennia, when it's happened just like this. I don't even know when it would be. So it's a long time. So the first time when the sun and Saturn come together, then it'll be a pretty much a world historical event that will happen, because that's the energy that's going to blend for the first time forever. You know, probably 800 years ago or something like that. So that's pretty big.
And that's
That
happening at the end of January?
Actually, let's see. Hold on, I got all my notes. I got copious notes this time. I never can remember everything. So, oh, I lost you.
Oh, I stopped sharing my screen. Should I share it again?
Yeah, I can do it one more time.
Okay.
Where am I? Give me a chance to. Where am I? Here. Oh, okay, you're back. Okay, that's good. All right. Why am I not see that right away? Oh, yeah, the way to do it is using the ephemeris. Okay, the Sun-Saturn conjunction happens, I think it's right around the 20th and the 23rd in that area. Sun-Jupiter, all around the time. I'm kind of fast forwarding to the 20th because that's inauguration day as well, where there's a lot of planetary energy that's adding up on that day. So that's, how do I want to, just hold on with me for trying to figure out a couple of things. There's so many aspects that are going on this month between the planets. It's like a party that you have, like a potluck party. Everything's brought into the mix this year. But around the time of the inauguration, the time in which Electoral College, January 6th, those are huge astrological times in which not only Aquarius is highlighted, but also Taurus. So Taurus is over here. Mars is in Aries, but it goes into Taurus in a couple of days, actually. And that's a big thing, because then when the moon comes into Taurus, we will have a square to Aquarius. So if you're being kind of like a political astrologer, you're talking about major ideological conflicts happening around the time of the inauguration, which would kind of seem to make sense the way it's been going. So we have a new player, on the block. So January 14th, Mars is going to be in Taurus, and Uranus is going to go direct. What do you know about the planet Uranus, Sam?
Nothing.
Okay.
That's just my typical thing. Nothing. I know nothing.
Okay.
It's a good place to be.
Okay, yeah, Sergeant Schultz, right? Well, that's Hogan's Heroes, right? Oh, man. I don't think anybody knows anything in the past that I know about, but anyway, yeah, all right, so here's the big deal. Uranus goes direct on the 14th. The Sun conjuncts Pluto. Here's another thing that I was trying to point out. So, Sun, Pluto, the Sun will be going up to Pluto. This is Pluto in Capricorn at the same time as Uranus moves direct. Now, the last time that Uranus was direct was back in the summer. It's kind of like the player that's been on the sideline waiting for its time to come into play. And when it does, it's going to change again the whole nature of life on the planet, because Uranus is a very strong planet. And it's in the sign Taurus, which, with Mars being in Taurus, the moon will be in Taurus at some point. We're talking about major financial shifts in the world. And I don't know enough about the financial world, but I know that that's going to change everything. The last time the Uranus was in Taurus was during the Great Depression. So we're riding a wave of Taurus energy, which hasn't really been activated, even though Uranus has been in Taurus 2 years. This time it's really going to make a big difference. So in the meantime, all these other planets are going to be challenging it. So we're going to have one T-square after the other. A T-square is when 3 planets line up. Like one is 90 degrees to the other, which is the opposite. There's 3 planets, like 3 cars in an intersection, and there's a missing 4th one. and in astrology, that's considered to be the most unstable. So during the middle of the month, there's going to be a little instability, possibly revolution, chaos. I mean, I have to say it that way because all those planets are mixing differently. So there's an alchemical mix, but Uranus is the country's really ruling planet. The United States is ruled by Uranus, freedom and doing it the way you want to do it. That's all Uranian. So it's probably going to be a good thing, but you don't know how to really see it. In this chart, oh, there we go.
Oh, sorry. You want the chart back again?
One more. Just
okay.
Yeah. All right. You'll see at the top of the chart, there's a little trident there. That's Neptune. Neptune is also going to play big toward the end of the month when the moon goes into Pisces. So if you're in any kind of business that's creative, suddenly there'll be a creative surge. And it's also, how do I want to say it? Something that's really profound will happen as I've been predicting that this might be the month that we're going to make contact with, outer space people and things like that. I know if you probably read the news, but they are getting signals from Alpha Centauri, Proxima Centauri, suggesting there might be some alien civilization contacting us. So if we get Sun conjuncting Pluto, that's a really deep picture anyway. And then Uranus moving forward, all on that day, right around the 14th, the whole world will be shaken. So I divided the month of January into two. That from now until the 14th, and then from the 14th after. Also, we just had a full moon on December 29th. That was the fourth pulse from last year, and that finishes that off. But we're not going to get another pulse until January 12th, and we start a new moon. So when I was writing about it, I was talking about how the New Year's doesn't really start till the 12th of January when we have that new moon. And then for all the happiness that we need, Mercury is going to be going retrograde at the end of the month. So that usually means about a week before, the 23rd or so, all the Mercury stuff, communication and whatever, starts to go into the shadow phase of Mercury. And it starts to develop another theme. So the full moon happens right at the end of the month as well. So we don't have a full moon until January, I think, 28th or 29th. So there's a lot of different cycles from 2020 already, but we are carrying over that Jupiter, Saturn, Aquarius. Any questions?
Well, I mean, I would just like to say that there's so much going on right now, and it isn't separate from consciousness. So, what this is doing is giving us kind of the groundwork that's laid, but we get to choose how we impact what's moving forward. And so I don't know how many of the people on this call have done much studying around the financial systems or anything like that. For some reason, it has been brought into my awareness in ways that I didn't know that I even cared about. And so, there's according to all the stuff that's dropping into my awareness, which is not through the mainstream media, because I grew up in media. So I already know that what we are given freely has a, it's being handed out by corporations that have to serve certain things. That's just the way it goes. So we're not being given the whole picture, but I will say that from my perspective and what has been brought into my awareness, this is a massive shift, but it's all for the better. It's just going to be unstabilizing a bit because we're, like anything, if you move into a bigger, better house that you've been waiting for your whole life, it's still you're in transition. And so there's messiness and you don't know where your cups are and you can't find your plates for a while. But the shift that's taking place, even on the financial, sectors, it's really massive and it's super disruptive, but it is absolutely for the better, because the systems, and we all know it, if any of us have ever taken out a loan or if any of us have ever had credit cards, like, where do they come up with these percentages that we have to pay them? Like, why? Who says that the Mexican peso is dropping in value next to the dollar, or the dollar's dropping in? Why? So it's whoever has control of that. It's kind of an unfair untruthful and non-transparent ledger that they're keeping. So all of that is just getting flushed, and there's a whole other form of blockchain stuff that's coming in. So we just have to pray it forward that it moves as smoothly. Like the more we keep ourselves in this higher vibratory place and flow with through this transition, the quicker we're going to get through it, and the more easily we're going to get through it. So that's our job.
Oh,
That.
wow. You got a new occupation there. You're going to be financial expert. And
No. It's called cheerleader. Raw. That's all.
Bro, isn't it the sun god?
Yeah,
All
so on the 14th, basically, you're saying on the 14th, with all this energy, it could be with the Aquarian energy, a positive revolution, not necessarily, a negative thing.
All right. Yep.
It depends on which camp you're in. But I think for alternative, since Aquarian energy is alternative, it bodes really well for those of us who like to dance in the alternative, win-win-win world versus the win-lose world. And
Right.
that's how I'm perceiving it, as
Yes.
a very positive, energetic, catalytic shift to the good too.
Absolutely. And that alternative world, by the way, should not be alternative.
Exactly.
We're the majority. I mean, it's the small minority, teeny tiny small minority that is making that alternative. We are beings of love who want to live in cooperation and in collaboration. We don't want to be killing each other over a piece of rice. So, and we know that there's a better way. And so, we are in mass consciousness and in flat out numbers. We want this to happen. And so it will. And this is what it's coming up to serve. And that's magnificent.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, I have to kind of just elaborate on Taurus, because that's kind of the new theme that's coming in. Mars has been in Aries like since last summer. It's been ruling Aries, and everybody's headstrong and everything, bump. And then now it's going to go into the slowing up Taurus and kind of bring back down the speed, and at the same time accelerate maybe the stampede as well, because when the bulls start going, they really move fast. So a Taurus is a shift in values. So if there was a nightly news program and it came on the 14th, the announcer would say, well, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a very incredible shift of values around the world. Everybody now is changing their whole consciousness, as you say, around what we value the most. And what we used to value, nothing, it doesn't even count. So what will the new value system come in? And that will then change. And with the Uranus thing, I love the Uranian aspect, because it's kind of like what my old teacher used to call the function of God's will. It's almost like God's will has been holding back for months and months and months. Okay, you're going to sort it out. Okay. And then he comes in, or she, and boom, you got a major radical shift of value system. That's to me is very exciting, like you're saying. And it changes money, what you do with it, what your resources are. And when Taurus comes in, it's all about what you have. How many times do you go through a meditation and you kind of almost forget to be in gratitude, because you have so much, and as soon as you promote what you have more. It's kind of, that's that win-win that Alan's talking about. It's you never have to lose. You're always gaining something, learning something, and all of that. So you have this contingent of Taurus coming in. Mars will be there, like as a guard, and the moon will be there on occasion, and so forth and so on. And then you got all the Aquarian people over there going, well, what are you guys doing? Well, we want to change your values. Oh, well, yeah, we have ideas. We're dreaming for the new future and utopia. Yeah, but you got to do it a different way. You got to have fields and farms and harvests and all kinds of stuff like that. So you got that Earth and air square that's going to go through the whole month anyway. And,
Right.
And so
Well,
that's
and I would love to add to that too, that I mean, I certainly have felt it, that there is this, I feel like there's this calling that's happening within everybody, like everybody's feeling this thing, but there's also simultaneously a lot of fear being pumped into the atmosphere. by the news and
Right.
by all of that sort of thing. And so then the question becomes, what do I do? You know, do I tell everybody to wake up? Do I show them this other thing? But really, to me, it's one of those things of, this is just for me, and you guys, anybody else can chime in on this too. The thing that has become the most empowering is for me to stand in what I know is truth, with compassion for everyone else who's too afraid to look at it. And in the standing up for it, it has one of those people react to it much like it does when someone's getting bullied. You know how there's one person being bullied and everyone's standing around going, oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. And they're watching this big bully beat up this little person. And suddenly someone goes, hey, wait a minute, stop it. That's wrong. Then everybody else goes, yeah, we don't need to do it that way. Let's do it. But everybody needs one person to stand up in the truth. And so it's really, that's kind of the most, I'm finding that that's the most empowering thing I can do for others, is just to be fully empowered in myself, to stand in it in a place of compassion. Because there's people, there's a lot of, they're promoting a lot of fear out there. And I think we all know that.
Yeah, well, sure. It's hard to distinguish what's real anymore. You know, it's kind of, I mean, I live in the unreal world, I think, but now I don't know, the unreal versus the real unreal versus the real unreal. It's getting a little confusing, right? So you really don't know much these days. So, but what do you think we should be doing here? It's like, we do have a new year. It's going to be profound, right? It's definitely.
It's an interesting question, because when you start getting down into specifics, I remember asking someone, we know this is going to happen. Where's a safe place to put money? Not like I have a lot of it, but you know, people are going to want to know this. And my friend Paula said the most profound thing. She said, we are creating at a different level. The moment you ask how to keep your money safe in the old system, you're putting energy in the old system. So there is this, we don't get out of the guidance system of, what does it feel like to me? Does it feel like panic or fear when I put my money in gold? Or does it feel like, hey, this is really fun, I'm shifting the system? So it almost, because we're creating on this new level, why we do what we do is almost more important than what we do. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So I think everybody has to take that step according to the path of least resistance for them. I fully believe that there will be people who might take the vaccination and not have a big push against it, or just go, it's a pretty easy thing, and not be impacted by it. And I think there are others who will take it and be negatively impacted. And I think those who won't take it, they're like, I'm free and clear, and they will be free and clear. Like, am I insane? But that's the level that we're moving into right now, I think.
Very well said. Very well said. So
anybody else can chime in on this.
Yeah, be curious to know what people think about what we're talking about here. But I'm excited because the Taurus energy is going to be zipping along, and I'm Taurus, so I mean, I can't wait.
So Brian, what do you think we should be doing? I got two questions for you. One is, during this month, I mean, it sounds like I read your report, and it's 10 pages long, and it moves into all kinds of things.
Yeah,
but what you've just mentioned is so much information, and it's so powerful. Two questions. One is, what should we be doing with it if we want the thing that is to the highest good of all, or if we want to talk about how we want to be creating moving forward? What should we be doing specifically within ourselves? And then the second question has to do with all the energies that we were coming out of through the solstice and into this, what those were for.
Very good question. You always say that, you know, you're trying to figure out how to answer it. Right?
You can answer like me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the word that's been running through for the last 5 minutes is enlightenment, right? You know, light, enlightenment. If you're an artist, you work with light in a canvas. If you're spiritual, you try to do the Buddha thing, enlightening, you know. So I'm thinking that that's what it's about. And since the core, what we're carrying over is that Aquarian, you know, shift that happened last year at the end in December. So we're given like a new contract to work with Aquarian things. So pretty much nobody knows what to do with that. You know, we can idealize it and socialize. It's a new socializing. I remember I was at a store the other day, and I said something about social distance, and the lady said, no, it's about socializing. So I like that better because that's the Aquarian theme. We're supposed to all jump together. All right. So then you throw Taurus in it, and eventually what happens is one of the core things for this month is Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius kind of start to fuse into the social stream. And it's never been that way for a very long time. You might have said maybe the year 2000 it happened. So it's like having a whole bunch of new players come to your team and you don't know who's going to play what position and all of that. So it's a new mix. And because it's the fixed signs are very interesting. The lion, the eagle, the human being, that's Aquarius, and the bull are symbols of what I've been told many times, the pillars of society. So when you have mutable signs like Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, Virgo, you're all flexible a little bit more. You can go this way or that way. The cardinal signs are what's called executive. So you have Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, and Aries. They're all movement. But Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius are like setting the cement in a wall, in a building. We're fixing and establishing something. So like the Magna Carta, you probably are going to have some very interesting, new political, social, spiritual contracts going on. So we're establishing. So we don't want to establish the cement or the muck. You want to establish the light. So we're at this month. This month is like when you're building and creating buildings or architecture or something like models or sculpture. It's all forming something in the real world, but in a different way than what we've been doing for many, many years. I mean, like I said, the last time was the turn of the century. So it was at least 20 years since we even thought about doing that. So it's like a whole bunch of people going to college for the first time, and they have to mix, races, mixed cultures, mixed gender, everything, and trying to work it out again. So what are you working it out towards? The teacher comes along and says, well, we all need to be enlightened. We all need to be lightened up. We can't have the heaviness of a fixed cross, because that's what tends to happen when we start feeling heavy. It's that fixed cross. Oh my God, the heaviness. So I suggest that, and a high level of creativity, because there's a Leo part, like we're having today, is spontaneous, creative, sharing, heart energy. Scorpio is bringing out secrets from the past and into the future. That's cool. Taurus is the reserve bank, the hidden money that you have, but more so the hidden stuff that you have inside yourself to take care of something. Taurus is like a task oriented. I'm a Taurus. If you got to go move 25 blocks, I take a deep breath and I move them. It's just all bull. and then of course Aquarius is trying to kind of equivocate a little bit and say, yeah, but we have to have a new society, and all that energy is different, I think. So I would use the word light or enlightenment and developing a sense of our resources and creativity.
Does anybody have any questions for Brian with regard to any of that?
How big is the universe, right?
Hi, Brian. It's Amelia.
Amelia, there you are. Good to see you.
Hi.
You guys
I love what you just said. I love this idea of enlightenment and creativity. I just recently saw it was a film about a very unique architect that's developing buildings by growing, using actually petri dishes and growing fabric or materials that then we can build big buildings out of, and they're doing it. Yeah, super amazing. So I think that what you're talking about with just establishing something that we don't know about yet, right? Something that we really haven't developed yet, but it's all based on what we're made out of, right? The light. I mean, where we come from, what we're made out of, and what the
Right.
You know, the basics of all of our existence is from nature, right? From the creator, the creation spark, whatever that is, right? There's something in each of our bodies besides just the physical cells. There's something that's enlivening it, that's growing it, that has been growing it since we were born, right? We went from, you know, whatever, 8 pounds, 7 pounds to 130 pounds or whatever we are now. And something grew that, something inside of
Right.
us grew that. And so, I mean, and that's what's happening all around us. And I feel like now we can just take that and use that same force or that same light to create systems and structures and,
Yeah, beautiful.
you know, new ways of doing things.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I call it Taurus also is a sign of organic. It's very organic, and it you know really does keep growing and growing, and or substantiation is another word. So we're in this phase now where we're substantiating something that we have only dreamed about, and we're building like new matrix and new substance containers or just anything you want to imagine. That's the whole point, right? And we're growing it into a new universe of consciousness, going back to what Virenia was saying. You know, this consciousness is growing larger and larger and larger. It's also expanding our physical nature in our response. And then that changes how we relate to one another. But can you really imagine what can happen if we all create something into the future, you know, way beyond any environmental virus thing or any other thing that could be coming down? If we all put our minds to it and our substance to substantiate, we'll have an amazing planet. And maybe a planet that travels through time and space, or you know, it's wide open. So I like the way you said it, Amy. So it's good to see you, by the way.
That was really beautiful. That's exciting.
And we're dreaming things into existence every day, right? I mean, we dream the virus into this chaos of like, oh my God, everybody should stay separate and we should do these things, and right, we dream that just as much as we dream, you know, the next new brilliant invention. And you know, that idea of dreaming, I mean, that is consciousness. That is what consciousness is doing. It is dreaming us. We are dreaming it. It's just self-perpetuating, you know, so why not be the dreamer?
Well, and everybody has their part to play in it. So, you know, I dream of this new financial system and banking system. I don't know the first thing about putting it together, but that's not my job. But every step that I take in dreaming forward more things for human harmonics or in the music that I want to create, as I step on my inspiration that way, without holding it into the limitation of what those businesses tell me they must be, I'm supporting the creation of those who are dreaming forward the banking system. That's the soup we're all sitting in. And so nobody is unimportant. Everybody's important. I don't care if you're a chef and you're trying, or a homemaker who wants to create something exciting to feed their kids. That's an important acknowledgement and movement, because it again, it supports the soup that everything else is sitting in. And so this is how the banking systems start to change. The people that are in those positions to do that. Anyway, I think it's exciting. Anybody else?
What would happen if money didn't exist? Like, what would happen if it completely, that whole system just disappeared? Then, you know, if you and I wanted to exchange something, even this conversation, right, then I have to go, well, Brian's wisdom is the value here, right? Like Brian's years of looking at charts and talking to people and listening so deeply and carefully to people, that's the value here. So with that value, what am I going to exchange in that value? Like, what part of me am I going to bring, or what am I going to give to him in exchange for that he's giving me? You know, and maybe it's just being here, but maybe it's also something else that he might be in need of. Like, what if we just totally blow the whole money thing out of the water and just go, if that was gone, who would I be, or who would we be?
Yeah.
Or how would we interact?
And just move on it. Anybody else doing anything fun? Has anybody else seen any amazing things happening? I love hearing stuff like that people are growing furniture out of.
Can you put the name of that architect in the chat?
I'll have to look for it because it was a few weeks ago, but I'll look for it. And then and then I'll find a way to send it to
Okay.
you.
Because I've seen things about growing with mycelium and
Mhm.
and also coral. So it's up my alley. I'm always interested in new eco architecture. And
Mycelium.
Brian has an architecture background too, so that's really awesome.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
cool things.
Well, back in the day, I was designing floating buildings and buildings that move with planetary movements.
I want to be in that building.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, and those days they said, "What, are you crazy?" I said, well, "I don't know. This is my idea. What, you know, you're supposed to be, you're supposed to be, you know, architects are always supposed to be creative and all that. Well, I got all kinds of stuff still. You know, moving. What was it called? The space terminals that move by perpetual motion. So if you take an airplane from LA to New York, you know, it's all a magnetic field.
Right.
There's no fueling. It's just going in a flow. Anyway, those were days. I'm still trying to. I'm working with prototypes nowadays. I got 22 prototypes of buildings of the future. That's about as far as I got.
Keep dreaming it forward, Brian. That's amazing.
Oh no, I'm working on it. Believe me.
I love
And
it.
including celestial architecture, which that's a cool thing right there. Or a few other things that have to do with structure and sacred geometry. You can kind of wrap it all together in different ways. And you know, when you do astrocartography, you also are including environmental design. And it's like that's kind of blowing my mind, because then I was just thinking this morning about when I was working with a shaman woman many years ago, and out of that, she used to do fire walking, and I don't know, she explained to me how she did it, but then I just decided that there was a thing called the fragile bubble around the earth. And when you go to the fragile bubble, it's like your etheric body, and you walk on the bubble, you don't walk on the fire. And then when you get up to the bubble, you see the stars differently than when you're on Earth. And so, you know, you might be a Sagittarius or a Gemini, but in your celestial coordinates, I call them, you're totally different, oriented toward a crystal or a filament or a sacred geometrical pattern and all that. So I'm working on that too, all part of that architectural thing.
Wow. I want to have another Zoom on all of that. Brian, we've got about 10 more minutes left.
Really?
Is there
Okay.
anything else that you feel is really important in the month of January?
Wow, good question. Well, I don't really want to talk about too much, but the inauguration is really going to be powerful astrologically. That's when Mars and Uranus come together in conjunction in Taurus, the thing we're talking about. So I have no idea what people do when they do inaugurations, especially this year when whatever's going to happen. But it's kind of a volatile aspect. You know, generally Mars and Uranus are not exactly agreeable. And, you know, one is as aggressive as the other unpredictable. So I'm just hoping that somebody can raise the level, you know, that vibration and hold it rather than let lower forces come by. So I don't ever like to talk about political things that much, but of course, Mercury retrograde at the end. We all know what Mercury retrograde does, but I'm actually having a different feeling around retrograde. I actually like it. I feel like I can communicate better because it's so odd. You know, and if you're looking for your you know, pen or something, you found it when Mercury goes retrograde, you go get a loaf of bread from the refrigerator, and it's right next to the counter. That's Mercury retrograde. You don't have to find it; it finds you. So that could be really good for people. So I'm thinking it's going to do that. But I think the full moon also. When is the full moon? It's coming up at. Full moon is in Leo, Aquarius at 9 degrees. So we're gonna have a little climax. That's the 28th, and the following day would be a mix of. It's kind of like when you win the lottery. Okay, now I've never really won the lottery, so I can't really say I have. But it's a day when all the winnings come to you. So we don't have any, like you know, the new moon is on the 12th, and then the full moon is on what did I say, the 28th. So for the whole month we don't have any real lunations except for that. So the month is finishing off with a full moon, and very dramatic Leo like it is now, as though today is a mirror image of what happened at the end of the month. So when we all go together and there's a big game, and we put the money in the pool for the bet who's going to win, doesn't come back until the full moon. So we're putting shares in right now, and the results will be like at the end of the month.
Okay. Anybody have any comments or questions for Brian? Or for each other?
Yeah.
For Ellen?
I would like to say thank you. Oh, hi
Oh,
there.
anyway, Melissa.
Hi, I've been here, but I'm doing so many things. I just kept myself on block mode there. But it was so great to hear you. And
Thank you.
I just want to thank you for everyone sharing. It was great news. And you asked earlier about you talked earlier about, or you've been talking a lot about the full moon and its connection to the new moon and the cycle that began, previous to now.
Right.
Can you are you able to explain a little bit about how we tie these together?
How I do it? Well, December 29th, you're talking about that full moon and the one coming up. Well, first of all, it's like an oscillation. When we had the full moon in December, that was Cancer Capricorn, the archetype family, Capricorn themes. And that was in the sequence that I was working with in December, it was the fourth pulse. It was the final pulse. We started off, we went through all these amazing things in December. And so that pretty much set the theme for the whole month, even January. But now it comes into Leo Aquarius. It's a different theme. So the connection is that the archetype is now shifting to strong heart energy and strong idealism, as opposed to withdrawing as a Cancer or Capricorn. And that's really important to put those two together. And especially when you have the new moon in Capricorn in the middle of that. So it's like talk about one month to another. So totally different how the year of 2020 ended to how this month is going to end, because we're pushing forth like my theme has been with the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, which is also what we're carrying. I felt like I went into a rocket ship and like it's all kinds of, I'm trembling and everything. So this will be almost like us getting to the next star system by the end of the month. It's that powerful. And then we get refueled to go into the rest of the year. Just remember, the Proxima Alpha Centauri has sent signals that probably are alien. That's the newest thing. I mean, this time it's not just a radio signal of a random nature. So it's possible we're lining up. And I remember going back to June 2013 when I said that our solar system was heading to an Alpha Centauri. Well, the day is coming now when we actually going to meet up. And even though we're like 4 light years away or whatever it is, it's really nothing according to time, because Jupiter, Saturn was time and space, and they interchanged and kind of moved their energy. So time became space, and space became time. The whole thing about that, and that's what we're carrying forth into the future. So this new moon, the full moon is going to bring that back into play and saying, okay, you got all your lessons learned in January, and we can now go into the next year and probably the next couple of years on that turning point.
I remember you saying that back then to me when we did a reading.
Yeah, well, because you're the Leo. I have a perspective, by the way, because we have a Leo, we have a hostess there. Yeah, she's Sagittarius, and we have Amelia, the Aries. We're forming the Grand Trine right now.
Yeah.
Only I can have that perspective because I know
it's a story. Yeah.
So I just looking at all of you at the same time. That's kind of crazy. So anyway.
Anybody else have any questions? Ellen?
I was going to ask about Vesta and the asteroid at the end.
Yeah, I knew you would. Yeah, I figured you would. Yeah. Vesta will be in Virgo most of the year, most of the month, and then it goes retrograde, and it has a lot to do with. I can't talk about women. Women as far as the feminine energy, but that's supposed to be a turn of the magic for women. Okay, and because it's related, because Virgo and Aquarius are both the signs of magic and alchemy, that's going to be a really mixed feel, like a festival of renewed or reestablish the feminine energy, and you know, Vesta is the hearth, and you know, the kind of bringing it all into a larger circle. So
When is that, Brian?
what's that?
End of the month.
I'm sorry, what? You want me to say that again?
When is that? When is that? Did you say the end of the month, Ellen?
Yeah, well, it's actually the whole month except toward the end when the moon's in Aquarius, right during that full moon at the end. Virgo and Aquarius that's when Vesta will be full power with the moon in Aquarius. I want to call it Vesta a festival. You know, the idea is that the two alchemical forces are joined together at the end of the month. Let's call it that. And so like a 3-day period right around the full moon. So from the 28th, 29th, 30th, right to the end, it's all about Vesta meeting up with Aquarius energy, which also includes the Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury. So it's gonna, you know, maybe I'll have to. No, I don't know what am I gonna do. All the women are gonna be going crazy, you know, with new energy. You know.
They're going to be knocking down your door, Brian. You better put the lock on.
Yeah, I know. I don't even have any hiding places, so it's kind of have to
Brian, I have a quick question.
Yes.
You said when the moon is in Aquarius, you know, near that full moon at the end, but is the moon, I'm confused. The full moon at the end of January, isn't that in Leo?
Yeah, that's Leo's moon. Yeah.
But it's under the influence of the Aquarius sun.
Yeah.
Mixed with Vesta.
Yeah, the full moon is Sun Aquarius, Moon Leo.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
So when the moon goes into Virgo, it adds in the conjunction with Vesta for the 2 days following it. So you have the full moon in Leo, but then as it goes, the full moon still kind of carrying energy, goes into Virgo. So it's almost like having a kind of like a full moon in Virgo Aquarius, which you can't do. It's called a quincunx, 150-degree or an inconjunct. And it's kind of when you realign yourself with full moon energy and also with harmony energy. And it's very special and very rare. What I wrote somewhere, I think you can see the elementals very clearly on those 2 or 3 days. You can participate in all the different things in woods and forests and wherever you want to do that. It's magic. No, that's why I kind of added it in my writing. You don't get that, but I don't know. I don't usually put the asteroid in there all the time because there's so much stuff. But that one definitely catches my attention because you'll be able to see the elementals. And you'll also be able to see the etheric body because that's the Aquarius. So I don't know if that makes sense. You know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Woods, you're going to be happy if you live in the woods. So.
I know. I want to be back in the woods. I'm back in LA. It's a jungle, a different kind of jungle.
Well, I actually drew a little cabin on the sketch next to my reference about Virgo, and it's kind of like a magical cabin that you go to, you know, and everything is explained to you, and then they allow you to, I don't know, it's like a huge 100-acre campsite, and you can go and play. That's kind of what it would be like.
Sounds amazing.
Well, that does sound amazing. Thank you for telling us that at the end.
Diana and everyone is saying thank you for everything and Happy New Year. And hopefully everybody in the chat, Ellen put the link to Brian's full report for this month. So you can just click on that or copy and paste it, whatever you want to do. And it'll get you right over to his full 10-page report. And then if anyone wants to book Brian for a private astrological reading, how do we do that? Are you over on the right on Human Harmonics? Just go. I
only do public ones. I'm sorry.
I only do them publicly.
That's a whole other joke from today, but I don't know. What do I have? I have phone numbers and I have an email site.
I think it's all up on Human Harmonics, right, Ellen?
Is it? I mean, Ellen, is it up? I don't know.
I think we have all your information up there. Yeah. If not, check
or
over.
You can contact me on Spacebook. Spacebook, not Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Brian, you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
We got to keep everything up and really And I would just like to say one last thing, and that is that no matter, I know the political thing is such a heated thing. There's so much more going on than what we can see and what we're being shown,
Right.
that if I'm a Biden supporter, I'm not going to assume that if Trump gets seated, that that's a bad thing. If I'm a Trump supporter and Biden gets seated, I'm not going to assume that that's a bad thing. There's so much more going on at play, and we have the power to impact it without even knowing what the proper outcome would be. There's so much going on. I'm just like, look, I'm just going to do my piece of this here and know that it's all working toward in the right direction. So I hope that's helpful. And
our true power is aligned with love, the love that we are. And we're very powerful, even if we're quiet and in the woods in that cabin that Brian just said. It doesn't matter where we are, because it's not space or time related. It's really the vibration and the frequency. And so that's really how we can stay feeling optimistic and ride this new current to create these beautiful, visions that a lot of us have been carrying for a long time, walking into this world of heaven on earth. So thank you guys all for being here and shining your light. We appreciate you each.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
We'll see you next month. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
See you later.
Bye.
That was awesome.
Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year.
Yes, Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.